Alkebu-Lan presents Afrika Speaks on Voice of Africa Radio. Weekly discussions and live debate on all issues affecting the African community, at home and abroad. Mondays from 8 to 10 p.m. We talk it straight and make it plain.
We need an African rebirth, an African spiritual rebirth.
Alkebu-Lan presents Afrika Speaks. Tune in and have your say.
Tendai Mwai, be thankful unto God. Greetings, Voice of Africa family. You've tuned into Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan. Hosting tonight's program is Brother Omawali and myself, Sister Kai. This show is not for the faint-hearted. It's for Africans at home and abroad. On Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, we talk it straight and make it plain.
Power is the capacity to effect your will. So we start to empower ourselves from where we are, and it starts from knowing ourselves. It develops into organized action. We develop economic programs. We develop economic programs, and we establish our own institutions. We establish our schools. We follow. In fact, all we need to do is to pick up and reenact the plan of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey. We need to go nowhere else. Read the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey. Let's get together and organize ourselves around the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Where is our African voice?
In the history of the Afrka, the British are the Nazis. But we the Germans had the humanity and humility to apologize and reparate for their crimes. The British have not.
We talk it straight and make it plain.
When you look at the European religion, first of all, when it was created at the Conference of Nicene in 325 AD, the purpose, the objective was for the spiritual enslavement of humanity.
Right.
Okay, and it's through that spiritual enslavement of humanity, this is where religion was used for a spiritual incarceration. And it's through the spiritual incarceration we have not been able to see it.
Where's the African voice?
94.3 on your FM dial.
The real issue is about these sanctions are biting the people of Zimbabwe, and that's the reality of it. And so what we have to do is to actually ask this government, those of us who live in this country, in the United Kingdom, who vote, to pay their rates, but this is being done in our name, that they are actually starving ordinary people in Zimbabwe.
At all levels, people are to be commended, because something like that, in terms of protest by African people, it's not happened since the 1960s bus boycott in Bristol.
Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan on Voice of Africa Radio.
Into war because they wanted land. What has happened now is that everybody from Europe with pounds can go into South Africa and buy land. That's making the land more scarce and unavailable. You cannot afford to buy land in South Africa today. We have to compete with the West, and the West is coming in with millions of pounds, not just rand, to buy the land. So the Africans are going to be disempowered even more. Already people are beginning to feel disempowered, and the anger is rising.
We talk it straight and make it plain.
Any African born anywhere in the world who is interested in working for Ghana to return to its role as a spearhead of the Pan-African liberation struggle is welcome to join our Pan-African Forum.
You're tuned to Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan on Voice of Africa Radio.
94.3 on your FM dial.
We can no longer see ourselves as little islands, little enclaves of African communities in these little places where we reside. We have to see ourselves as part of a global community, a global world African community.
What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to copy in my own little way. I'm trying to model it a little bit on what Marcus Garvey was trying to do.
Our liberation comes through the African woman. It's her womb. That's what she's saying. When Asar was cut up into 14 pieces and spread throughout the land, we as African people have been cut up into many pieces and spread throughout the world. So symbolically in the books in stone, she's telling us she's going to raise her up.
We talk it straight and make it plain.
I think because I'm blessed that the community supports the work of Ligali, that I'm in a position where I don't have to even guess. I don't think about, will Massa take away my funding? I don't have any of those concerns. So it enables myself, the organisation, other people to think to themselves, we can act on our instincts, we can act on that message from our ancestors. And so I had to get up. I had to walk through and I had to make it clear that you cannot do this in the name of my ancestors.
Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, the Voice of Africa Radio.
We talk it straight and make it plain.
Those of us who have been shaped and formed by black politics in this country over the last 30 or 40 years, you couldn't possibly come into existence politically without understanding the alliance, the unity, the solidarity of African and Caribbean people first, before you even get nowhere.
Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, the Voice of Africa Radio.
We're working towards setting up a Pan-African Solidarity Center.
Beautiful.
First in Ghana and hopefully on other parts of the continent.
I do believe that we have to take responsibility for our own self-determination. I do believe that we need to hold people accountable for who represents us. And I definitely believe that any time you're paying taxes into a system, that you have a right to access your money, to use it for the things that you need in your community. So in no way, shape, or form do I believe that we should be politically inactive. But I believe that our political activity should be based on what is required for our survival. And that means we don't have to be in the pocket of the liberal Democrats or Labor or the conservatives. Because the reality is that the only agenda that should matter to us is our agenda. And the only thing that we should be focusing on is how we use the best of our resources to look after ourselves. And that's what it is that's going to be required of us to turn this situation around. And I'm speaking on that based upon over 20 years of fighting this fight against self-annihilation and fratricide in our community, and the attack that's coming from outside our community that's capitalizing and benefiting from the destruction in more ways than one. So, to every young person that's out there, I ain't got nothing but love for you. And I ask the families and the people of our communities, don't turn your back on our children. Whatever you do, engage with them, love them, show them that you're not afraid of them, talk to them, spend time with them. And on top of that, become more of a political class instead of aspiring to be middle class. And you'll find that you'll get all other things that you want to happen in your life to happen. It's only when we're politically engaged where we see and understand freedom.
Afrika Speaks with Alkebu-Lan, the Voice of Africa Radio.